In a second, we are going to be joined by the reigning, defending UFC light heavyweight champion. What a week it was for him. Holy smokes. Daniel Cormier came to Las Vegas around this time last week thinking that he was going to fight his longtime rival, Jon Jones. He ends up fighting Anderson Silva at UFC 200 instead. Wow, what a turn of events. And he is kind enough to join us from his familiar setting in his home in San Jose, California. There he is, the light heavyweight champion, Daniel Cormier. Daniel, what's up? Oh, there he is. DC. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. What's up?
What's up, my man? Thank you so much. Wow. Wearing the burnt orange, correct, of OSU? There it is. Go Pokes.
Go Pokes.
Okay, we have a lot to talk about, Daniel. Of course, I want to talk to you about last week, the fight, all that stuff. But hey, as one of the faces of the UFC, you wake up this morning and you find out that the company has been sold for $4 billion. What's your reaction?
You know, man, honestly, I woke up and I didn't know much about it, but I woke up and I was like, wow, it's been done. It's been talked about, you know?
Sure.
But I've actually been one of the guys that's experienced a sale before while I'm in an organization. So I kind of have an idea.
Great point.
Of what to expect. And the thing is, like, you can just jump to conclusions or you can kind of wait and see what happens and what changes. I'm a guy that likes to wait and see what happens, man, because when Strikeforce was sold to the UFC, operational, some things changed, but the organization did not change all that much. So I need to see what's going to happen first before I pass judgment and see what happens. I'm hopeful, you know, that there will be more funds and finances for the fighters, but you never really know.
You're a big sports fan. Are you blown away by the number, $4 billion? And does that, you know, put a light bulb above your head and say, wait a second here, you know, this is right?
Big number, man. I mean, even, you know, it's like all these sports franchises now are selling for so much. You know, even a few years ago, the Clippers sold for this outlandish amount of money. It's like 3 times. Yeah, it's like 2 times that.
Yeah.
You know, the UFC is sold for 2 times what the Clippers sold for. And when the Clippers got sold, it was like, that's an amazing amount of money for a franchise. But the UFC is a sport that's continued to grow. The UFC is a sport that draws in young fans. Man, everybody wants the young fans. And the UFC is a sport that's shown that it can bring the young fans in droves. So big, huge win for the UFC. Huge win for Fertitta Brothers. And if we are to believe what Dana said, we're going to go to the next level, I guess.
Okay, let me talk. Okay, so there's so much to talk to you about. Holy moly. So I mentioned this to you. I thought last week, in a small, weird way, sort of, it encompassed what you are all about. You are a survivor. You are a guy who keeps standing. You've been there before. You have been dealt some tough hands throughout your life. And then here you are about to, you know, realize this dream of headlining the biggest show in UFC history against your rival to avenge that loss. I mean, it couldn't have worked out better for you. And then you find out Wednesday night that it's not happening anymore. And you don't know if you're going to remain on the card. You're not getting that money, all that stuff. Have you ever in your entire athletic career, and I know, again, the Olympics, I mean, there's so much that you've been through, but experience that kind of highs and lows where you're down, you're high going into Vegas, down, high, you get the fight, then you're getting booed for your performance. I mean, what the heck is going? Have you ever experienced anything like that before in that 72-hour stretch?
No, not athletically. And anything I've dealt with personally, it's like if it's bad, it's like just straight bad. It's not bad, then it gets right back good and bad. In sports, it was always kind of like up, and then if I lost, it was kind of like bad. Whereas this, it was, I got to Vegas. I was excited, man. I saw my picture on the side of T-Mobile Arena. The energy was great in the area. Everything was just fine. And then going to the presser and then going the way that it did, having our stare down, everything was just like, it was great. You know, so I was on this high. And then when I heard about Jon being pulled out of the fight, it was very disappointing and sad. And then they started talking about getting me a fight, and I was like, get me a fight, get me a fight, get me a fight. And then my mind starts to play with me, and I'm like, well, do I really want to fight someone different? I haven't prepared. Like, am I going to be okay? And then so when I left Dana and them, like, we're going to try to get you another fight. So I'm like, okay, I'll go try to make weight. I went to the gym and worked out and did things that I normally do, but then, like, I was so stressed. Every time I'm hitting pads and I'm asking Bob Cook, I'm like, Bob, hear anything? Hear anything? Hear anything? And I finished working out, and I was like, wow, I haven't lost as much weight as I normally would lose in this weight cut. So then I'm stressing, and the weight's not coming off like I'm supposed to. Then all day long on Thursday, I still don't know, but I'm still having to manage and monitor my weight, make sure I don't get heavy. When in reality, when I lost Rashad off the fight and didn't know if I was going to fight Pat 10 days before, first thing I did was went and got some food and just ate. You know, but in this situation, I couldn't, because if I got a fight, I wouldn't have been able to make weight. So it made everything more difficult, man. The weight cut was hard. It was taxing. And then when I finally found out I was fighting Anderson, then I was like high again, you know?
Yeah.
So it was crazy, man. It was crazy. And then I hadn't fought in 8 months, which is not very good for me. I fight often. I fought John, Rumble, and Alexander last year in a matter of 8 months.
Huh.
All in 8 months, I fought those guys from January to October. I hadn't fought in 8 months at all, so everything kind of felt foreign to me. It was weird. I don't want to be off that long again.
Amazing footage of Dana breaking the news. That footage on Embedded, was that when you really just found out? Like, you had no idea prior to that?
No idea. You see, Dana always has this guy with him. His name is Elliot.
Yeah.
He takes pictures and he does videos. And Elliot was there, but I didn't know he was filming because me and Dana were just sitting there. And Dana came in and he couldn't tell me because there's protocol to how it happens when stuff like that happens. So he wouldn't tell me what's going on. So I'm like, man, what's going on? Like, seriously, what is happening? And he kept going back and forth because they were having to notify everybody before they could let me know. And so I'm just sitting there with this my stomach. I've got this empty pit, this feeling in the pit of my stomach. And finally he tells me, and I guess I don't know how he was filming it. I just didn't notice him because I was so focused on Dana. But it looks like he may have had the camera down. You know how sometimes you like when people are filming stuff, they put it down because the angle was very low. And I know for a fact he wasn't like squatting. So he might have just was holding the camera towards us when he got the footage. But that was exactly when I found out.
And for the record, it was amazing to see. And it made you into a very sympathetic figure because you were willing to fight John. You really didn't care. You didn't ask about anything. You just said, "Let me fight him," even if he's on steroids.
Yeah, of course, man. Because we're trained for combat. You know, I mean, I was trained for combat. You know, I was there to fight Jon Jones last weekend, and that was it. You know, so I asked if there was anything we could do. You know, and again, I didn't know anyone was filming that.
Right.
You know, if I knew that, you know. Because I would never want to paint the organization in a light where people think that it's even possible that something like that could happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just was asking for me, talking to Dana as two men, you know?
And we're working to a point here. Thursday morning, he meets the press and is crying and is apologizing to you. Did you watch that while it was happening? And how did you feel about it?
I was still having to train.
Yeah.
I had to keep preparing for a fight, so I didn't watch it live. Oh, hold on. Shut up, bird. Shut up, bird.
Trying to get some airtime.
Selena's got this bird, man. But she's got this bird, stupid bird, just like, what's he doing? She's like chirping the whole time. Freaking bird.
There you go.
Okay. Bird's talking again. Every time I try to say something, Bird starts talking. But anyway, so I'm still training, and I'm in the sauna, and you hear that? The bird's low. Bird's chirping low there.
He's afraid of the champ.
But so I'm actually I'm in the sauna, and we're listening to it, and he seemed very sad, you know, and I went back to my room before I did my final weight cut, and I actually watched it, you know, and I could see that he was heartbroken, you know, so it was very sad, man. It's sad to see somebody. I don't like seeing people hurt like that, and I could see that he was hurt, you know. So I've been trying to. I try to do things for me, you know, things that feel better for me and for my my mental and me as a human being and my spirit, you know. So I made sure that he knew that his apology is accepted, you know, and I do wish him the best in his journey.
Do you feel like he was trying to cheat before your fight to gain an advantage over you?
I don't know. You know, with the when everything comes out, we'll know better. Okay. But if it comes out that he was doing performance enhancers and he was obviously trying to cheat, I mean, I can only be honest. If I call it like it is, if it comes out that he was doing performance enhancers, then obviously he was trying to cheat. I don't know if it was because the OSP fight didn't go as he expected it to. I don't know. I don't know what it was that made him do whatever he did if it comes out that he was doing performance enhancers.
Let's say he goes away for 2 years. Say he goes away for 6 months, whatever. Given the emotional roller coaster, and I thought the comment that you said that was most interesting on Wednesday night was that like he brings out sort of an ugly side in you, and you don't feel like going back to that well over and over again. And I know you talked about a trilogy, but now that the second fight didn't happen, are you kind of done with this? Like, will you even entertain the idea of ever fighting this guy again?
Right now, I'm gonna fight somebody else. Yeah. I'm gonna fight somebody else because I need a chance to reset. For my mental and for my mind, my heart, my spirit. For me, because it does bring out an ugly side of me. I find myself not being me when I'm dealing with him, and it makes me ugly. So I'm gonna take some time and I'm gonna fight somebody different, and live in my world and take care of what I can take care of. This fight has been scheduled 4 times. We've competed once, so when the time is right, we will fight again. But my focus is not on Jones anymore. It is on me and my reign as the champion and what I can do for the organization.
You are the 205-pound champion, but do you want to stay there at light heavyweight? Because it did seem like you were struggling a little bit. Was that just because of the stress? Are you comfortable still fighting as a light heavyweight?
Yeah, I'm comfortable. It was the stress of the week, but also too much time off. If I'm off for too long, I can get big. And last time when I've had all those fights in 8 months, I was making weight no problem. I was just stepping on the scale, was no issue. Last time was tough. I didn't fight for 8 months. I was light too. That's the problem. It's like I was only 217 pounds on Wednesday, so it's not like I was like super heavy. But it was just once I started stressing over the whole situation, it's like the weight would not come off. And TJ Dillashaw is a smart guy. He was telling me the word for why I wasn't losing the weight, that I was building up something. But he told me how difficult it was for him when he lost his opponent 24 hours before, when he had to fight Joe Soto. And he was saying how much harder the weight cut was and everything too. But it's like, I'm fine. I'm fine making the weight. Now, I've got the greatest nutritionist in the game, man, Daniel Leith. And even if I didn't make it as easy as we did the first time, we still got it done, and I still thought I was able to fight as well as I could. And every time Anderson and I were on the feet, I was still walking him down and pursuing him. It's not like I was backing up and just kind of holding on and taking damage. I took essentially one shot the whole fight.
Okay, so now let's talk about the fight. We still haven't talked about it. What is going through your mind when you're dominating him? You're standing on the feet, then you're taking him down, you're imposing your will, you're winning the rounds rather convincingly, and this place is just showering you with boos. You're doing what you need to do to win, to get your win bonus, all that stuff, and you're being booed for it. Are you even paying attention to that?
Not really, because I'm fighting. I'm out there fighting, man. I get it. There have been times where I'm watching football, and I'm a huge Saints fan, and I talk about holding. I talk about the referees. I talk about the quarterbacks. I'm the quarterback. I'm the armchair quarterback. I can do everything. So I get it. Maybe Joe Schmo in Section 225 would impose a different game plan. But Daniel Cormier, the guy that is in there, knows what he needs to do to win. Daniel Cormier, the guy who is the UFC light heavyweight champion, who's won 18 out of 19 fights and is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, knows what he has to do in order to win against Anderson Silva. Do you take the hard fight or you take the easier fight? What do? I don't owe it to anybody to stand in there and just trade strikes with this guy. That makes no sense. I did stand with him. The last 2 minutes of the third round, we stood up the whole time. I could have just took him down again. We stood the whole time. And then in the first round, we stood. We traded shots in the second round. We actually went for 30 seconds where we just stood and threw shots at each other in the second round. And I continued to press forward as we were on our feet. So I don't have to explain myself to these people. If you go into the arena with an opinion that's not going to be changed, then it's fine. But if you say the last fight was boring, Okay, that's your opinion. But Ariel, when you look back at my last 3 fights, Jones, Rumble, Gustafson, 2 of those 3 fights I got fight of the night, and the fight against Rumble I got performance of the night. So I'm obviously doing something right in those fights. I mean, I'm willing to go out there. I'm not going to fight everybody like I fought Gustafson. I don't want to feel like I did on Sunday morning, because guess what? When all those cheers stopped, my children walked into my room on Sunday morning, and my daughter had to see me with my eyes both closed. And she was crying and didn't know what happened to her dad. That's my reality after these people leave from the arena on Saturday, after being completely drunk and wasted. When they're done and they go home and they're all still fine, when I'm all beat up and tore up, I have to deal with my 4-year-old daughter looking at me like, what happened to my dad or my son, So I fought the fight that I needed to fight.
You just didn't deserve it. And I know deserve is a tough word, but what was the alternative? Not fight? They don't get to see Anderson. They don't get to see you. And I couldn't wrap my head around the idea why they were reacting to you that way. Now, it's one thing for Joe Schmo in Section 222 to do that. It's another for a guy like a Donald Cerrone to insult you and your game plan, a fighter who's been there. And I know your styles are different, but what's your reaction to those comments yesterday?
My reaction to Donald is shut up. Has he lost his mind? I mean, what is this guy talking about? Donald Cerrone? Who made you the person? Like, on what ground does he stand on to be able to say something like that to someone like me? He can tell me stuff. If he had a problem with the way that I performed, he could have told me in the back that day, DC, that wasn't a very good fight, man. I didn't like it. But to do it publicly, who are you? Are you the greatest fighter of all time? Are you the guy that went out there and got stopped in the first round by Anthony Pettis, got kicked in the side and fell down? Are you the guy that got dominated by the last guy by Dos Anjos in the first round, where you just fell down? I've been nothing but a gentleman to that guy, and he just likes to talk. Maybe he was drinking a little bit. I don't know. But who is he to make that decision, and so crass and rude about it? But that's the type of thing that's upsetting. It's like, what are you doing? Who are you to say that you can say something like that? You beat a couple guys, and then all of a sudden you walk around with that stupid cowboy hat. I'll smack you upside your head with that cowboy hat. I'll actually have Khabib do it for me. I'll make Khabib smack him upside his head. Is that guy crazy?
Yeah, very disappointing.
Especially, it's very disappointing. Yeah. Especially under the circumstance with everything that's happened in Orlando and everything, to use that word in those terms, and it's like, man, nobody's exempt from just being like, you have to have some class, man. You have to be okay. You cannot just go around. Hey, Donald, this isn't the Wild Wild West where you can walk around with your stupid cowboy boots and your hat spitting tobacco and just talking crazy. You have to have some respect and carry yourself with some class. And when I see him, he's going to have some words to speak to me, because you don't disrespect me like that. At the end of the day, I'm a man, and when I see him, we will have some words and we'll discuss it.
What do you think of John McCarthy standing you up twice when you're doing work? I mean, this is the preeminent referee in the game. Ironically, this was the guy that Jon Jones didn't want in there. You and McCarthy end up to the fight. John doesn't, but here he is, it seems, reacting to the boos twice.
The first one I thought was okay, whatever. We weren't advanced position as much as I could have. He was very clear in that, Daniel, you have to be posturing to do damage. So I was trying to posture, but Anderson was doing a really good job of locking down my leg and grabbing me up the back of my head and pulling me down, so I couldn't really posture as much as I wanted. I would have invited more scrambles, because if he would have gotten up and caused scrambles, I felt like I would have out-scrambled him and it would have exhausted him a little bit faster. But he didn't really do that. He kind of just held me in position. The first one I thought was okay. The second one I thought was a little bit iffy, because I had just finished hitting him a few times, and I just went back to resecure the position. And the moment I resecured the position is when he stopped us. But once again, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. You stop the fight, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to continue to get back up there and keep fighting. I just go out there and just keep fighting. I'm in there to do a job. I cannot worry about what John McCarthy does. I cannot worry about what the fans say. All I can worry about is me and Anderson Silva. And if stuff would have got iffy again, I would have just took him back down. I don't care what people how they would have booed me. You go in there with a guy that can strike and stand with him whenever all you literally have to do is grab his legs and he'll fall down. It's the craziest thought in the world.
Jon Jones' manager, Malky Kawa, was on the show earlier. Didn't say anything disparaging, but the one thing that he did say, which I agree 100%, is I can't believe Daniel Cormier took a pay cut to fight Anderson Silva on short notice. This came out before the fight. Is that true? Did you take less money to take this fight to save the card?
Yeah, I did. I wanted to fight, man. This is the thing, man. Like, people like...
Dad,
hold on, baby. Hold on. Daddy's doing an interview. You see, this is the bird. Now it's Marquita. Dad's right back to work. Monday and Dad's right back to work. It doesn't stop.
I understand, and I appreciate the time.
You want to come say hi? You want to say hi?
Please.
Do you want to say hi, baby, please? Please? And I'll put the passcode for you.
Okay.
You got to come say hi, and I'll put the passcode for you.
Hi.
There she is, my friend.
Say hi. Say hello, everybody.
You remember me?
Say hi. Say yes, I saw you.
I saw her Saturday. She was very upset. She didn't get the seat that she wanted at the restaurant.
I know. Take this to mommy. She'll put it in for you. I love you. But I did it because, man, honestly, man, as long as we're okay, like, we're good with our money. We make a ton of money, and my contract is different, so it went from being a title fight to a non-title fight. My contract states a lot of different things in it. So I took less money to fight. I wanted to fight, and I'm still going to make a ton of money. I didn't lose my pay-per-view and everything, so I still get my points and everything, and I'll be fine. And I don't waste money. Like, I don't waste money. So I just keep my money, man. So what's it's fine. I don't like to say stuff like, well, what's $1 million here or $500,000? It's like that sounds silly, but it's like, we're fine. I could make the money that I made last weekend last me 10 years if I needed to.
And just a couple more minutes left with you. Thank you so much for the time. When I was watching the fights on Saturday, I think maybe the most impressive performance of the entire weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Kane freaking Velasquez throwing spinning wheelhouse kicks and doing what he did to Travis Brown. And I couldn't help but think, what is Daniel Cormier in the bowels of the T-Mobile Arena thinking as his guy? You couldn't be there in his corner, but his guy, just moments before your fight, is doing that. What did that do for you before the fight? Were you able to watch it, and what did that do for your confidence?
Boost, man. It was a boost. I watched it the whole time. It's like, it is the weirdest thing with Kane and I, because we've done this once. And I went to fight Roy Nelson right before him, and he had to watch me fight, and then I ran back and went and cornered him. This time, I got to watch him fight, and then he came back and ran back to the balls. Didn't do his interviews because he wanted to get back with me as I finished my final preparation to my fight.
Wow.
So it was intense, man, because Kane Velasquez is that dude, man. People don't realize it. Everybody wants to discredit everything. He's always injured in this. He lost to Verdum. Kane is the guy, man. He's the best guy overall. I'm telling you, all the weight classes, Kane's the best, man. If he's healthy and he can go out there and compete, he can do that to anyone. What I loved the most was not only the spinning kicks, was the pressure, but now smart pressure. It's like relentless, but not reckless. Before he ran into so many jabs from Verdum was just kind of putting his fist out there and Kane would run into it. Now Kane's always moving his head. The pressure's smarter. He's touching Travis. Travis could have made it out of that round. All he had to do was move a little bit. He heard the clapper, but I think he was like, okay, this is going south, and if I stay in here, we're gonna somehow go past Mexico into the ocean. This was going south. We were going south out of California down towards Mexico, and if I get out of this round, it's just gonna continue to keep going south. So he was like, all right, man, I think I've had enough.
What was it like for you, considering how big of a pro wrestling fan you are, to share the stage with Brock Lesnar? You guys joking up there, making fun of my questions to him on Wednesday. He's doing his thing, has his own press conference. But I know you're a mark. You love this stuff. What was that like for you?
The conqueror, the beast incarnate. Hey, he was just back there. It was like the Brock Lesnar show. He's just walking around like, Brock's so big. It's like, what? Brock? Like, so big. Like, is he even a human being? Like, dude, he's so big. And then he's like, he lost weight, right?
Yeah.
And it's like all ripped up. And I'm like, man, look at Brock Lesnar. Brock actually was leaving after the fight. And, he's kind of got like a black eye a little bit. I kind of felt like Brock was squinting to make the eye look a little more damaged than it was. But I see him and Sable back there, and I tell Sable I'm a huge fan, you know, and I'm like, Brock looks great. I was like, Brock, why don't you stay around 270 even when you're in the WWE because you look so fit? And she goes, he looks good, doesn't he? I go, he looks phenomenal. The Beast is gonna smash Randy Orton.
Oh man,
you believe it? I mean, how do you do? But this is the thing though, like he goes back now to the WWE. It's like you can't lose.
Yeah,
you can't make nobody beat him.
Right.
It's like this dude actually just fought in the UFC.
Yeah.
Bring somebody else over here. Hey, how about we bring your boy Kevin Owens over to the UFC? You know, and see how he does. And then if he wins, then he can go back to the WWE and be undefeated forever. You know, that's just how it is.
They've been courting him for 5 years.
Yeah, you know, he's a blue chipper. He's Ben Simmons. He's Ben Simmons. He's a blue chipper. Bellator's after him too. Dude, stop making me shit on Kevin Owens.
Sorry. Does Kane beat Brock? Because I think that's the fight.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Hey, I like Brock, but Kane beats Brock in the UFC and in the WWE.
Okay. Safe to assume that your next fight is the winner of Glover versus Rumble?
That's what it seems like, right? I mean, that seems like it would make the most sense. You know, Glover Teixeira, Rumble Johnson, winner. I don't know exactly who it is. I don't really care, to be honest with you, but it seems as though it'd be the winner out of Glover and Rumble.
You got to go?
Rumble and I would be fun.
Yeah.
But Glover Teixeira is a new matchup. But either one of them, I don't really care.
Two last quick things. Malky said that he spoke to John right after your fight, and his reaction was, "Man, I would have whooped DC." What do you say to people who said that you would have lost to him, that you weren't fit?
I mean, I was ready to fight. You know, I think I would have fought different if that was Jones out there. I had to fight a little bit different because Anderson doesn't have the same skill set as John. So I wrestled a lot more than I intended to in the fight with John. So I hadn't really trained as much wrestling as I did against Anderson. So we'll have to see, you know. Hopefully one day, John, we'll get a chance to see.
You are a class act. Sometimes I get killed for, you know, defending you too much or talking about you, that you're the second best fighter in the world pound for pound. And now I think there's a case that you're the number one best pound for pound fighter in the world. But do you believe that?
I beat Anderson Silva, who's middleweight champ.
Yeah.
I've got the 205-pound belt. I also beat Josh Barnett and Frank Mir, who are UFC heavyweight champions. I've beat the UFC champions in 3 different weight divisions, boys. Pat yourself on the back, old DC. Pat yourself on the back.
Did you have a word with old D12 who left your Rockets and went to the Hawks? Did you see him on Saturday?
I chased him out of the arena.
Okay.
I had him running. I said, get out of here right now. I said, I'm just kidding. I chased him right out the back door. Nah, I only chased him out the back door to say what's up.
Did you see him?
Yeah, I did. Just said what's up, man. I had to do some media stuff, but
okay.
Yeah, the Dwight Howard thing. He's a great guy. Great guy.
And then finally, what do you do to decompress now? I mean, this has been one of the craziest weeks of your life. How soon do you want to get back? But like, what kind of break are you going to take?
Not a long one, because last time it was so long that everything felt new to me in the back again. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with those emotions. But as of right now, in the short term, I'm leaving Wednesday to go to Hawaii. Today I'm going to go hang out with my family, and we're going to just do family stuff. I'm going to hang out like a normal person, man, be a dad for a little bit. My family haven't really got me for 6 months now because I started training for Jones in April, didn't fight Jones, and then had to train for Jones in July. You know, so he's essentially taken a year of my life from my kids, half a year of my life. So now I get to give them some time.
Much love and respect, DC. Thank you so much for coming on.
Man.
This has become a tradition.
Every Monday, go poke, pound, pistols firing, boys. Pistols firing.
Congratulations, right. and most importantly, congratulations on handling it all with such class. Really, I mean, you really put out the blueprint, DC. Thank you.
Thank you, man. I can only be me, man. That's who my mom, that's who Audrey Cormier raised me to be.
Well done. Enjoy your kids. Thanks, man. Talk to you soon.
Right.
Daniel Cormier, the reigning defending UFC light heavyweight champion, stopping by. Tremendous stuff from him. And again, and I'll say it, how in the world do you boo this man? How do you boo that man? I mean, it's unbelievable. Has done it all every step of the way. Rashad Evans pulling out. He fights Patrick Cummins. What's happened with John time and again, taking the fight against Rumble Johnson on a month's notice. This fight on 2 days' notice without batting an eye. Mousasi, Anderson. Think about that mental dump. Think about what he was going through there. I mean, that is just unbelievable that people would not recognize the fact that if Daniel Cormier doesn't accept that fight, there is no Anderson Silva on the card. There was no other option for him. And to say maybe that he saved the card isn't, it's not, okay, UFC 200 goes on, it sells well, there's no doubt about that. But that whole drama, if there's no resolution to it, if Anderson doesn't come in to save the day, everyone was talking to me about Anderson. Thursday, Friday, everyone was talking to me about Anderson Silva around the streets of Las Vegas. In my opinion, he added to the pay-per-view buys. The Anderson, just the drama of it all. People wanted to see the quote-unquote GOAT come in there against the champ. Go back and watch the fight. He was not stalling. He was not holding him down. He was imposing his will. He stood when he needed to, and he took him down when he needed to, and he won the fight. And for people, and I know drunk, whatever, for people not to recognize that and shower this man with praise for stepping up and taking that fight when most people in the UFC wouldn't, to me is mind-blowing. Doesn't deserve that. Those fans should know better. It's a bad look for MMA fans. I'm sorry. It really is. If you are a true hardcore fan of MMA, you're paying that much to watch that fight, you have to recognize what this sport is all about. It's not just rock'em sock'em robots. If that's what you want, go watch something else. This is the highest level. The name of the game is win. Because you make more money that way. Because you provide for your family. And he said it perfectly. Those people aren't with him Sunday morning. So I appreciate the fact that he is saying no skin off my back, but I just couldn't believe. I mean, it's one thing to boo a little bit. Brock was booed a little bit, nowhere near Daniel, and it's amazing because he did the exact same thing. But to be booed the way he was booed is embarrassing to me as an MMA fan. Embarrassing. And by the way, I'm not trying to rip on the fans, there's a lot more than the 18,000 that were there. And I saw some people say like, oh, I can't believe you would say that after everything the fans have done for you. No. This is having respect for one of the greatest fighters of all time for stepping up.